All right, let's jump right in. Today, we're talking about something that isn't just a small update or the latest tech trend. No, this is a fundamental rewrite of how businesses are going to operate. We're diving into the rise of agentic AI and the absolute revolution it's demanding from our enterprise architecture.
Okay, so let's kick things off with this really powerful statement from GAI because it just perfectly frames the challenge. You see, the systems we've all been relying on for years, well, they just weren't built for this. Just try to imagine thousands of autonomous AI agents acting like a brand new digital workforce, all hitting your systems with queries at the same time. The current infrastructure, the pipes, they just can't handle that kind of crazy dynamic load.
And that brings us right to our first big topic, what we're calling the architecture crisis. We're going to unpack exactly why these systems, which have served us so well for decades, are suddenly becoming this massive bottleneck in the age of AI. This slide just lays it out so clearly. On one side, you've got our old architecture. It's static, it's rigid, the data is locked away in silos, and it's all designed for a machine to just execute a specific task that a human gives it. But then, on the other side, you have what agentic AI really needs, a dynamic, fluid environment where it's actually aware of the context, and its job is to achieve a broad goal, not just, tick items off a to-do list. So here's the absolute crux of the problem. We, as people, can look at data in totally separate systems, say your CRM over here and your ERP system over there, and we can mentally connect the dots. We bridge that gap. But an autonomous AI agent, it can't do that. For an agent to work, it needs an ecosystem where the data, the context, and the power to act all flow together seamlessly. Without that, the agent is basically flying blind. So let's move on and see how we get to the solution, because this isn't about just patching up the old systems. Nope, it's about laying a completely new foundation, a real blueprint for the intelligent enterprise of the future. And here it is, the core concept, agentic architecture. And I want to be clear, this is not just some technical upgrade. It's a complete rethinking of our digital foundations. It's the framework that lets AI move beyond just doing simple, predefined tasks and lets it start operating with real intent, pursuing complex goals for the business all on its own. Forrester gives us a brilliant way to think about this. Stop thinking of your enterprise AI like a factory that just processes raw data. Instead, picture it as a refinery. Right? It takes in that raw data, but then it enriches it, using the subtle, tacit knowledge of your human experts to create this incredibly valuable, context-aware intelligence that actually gets smarter over time. So what makes this whole thing tick? Well, this slide lays out the 5 pillars that make it all work. You've got autonomy, which lets the agents act on their own, then goal-directed behavior to make sure their actions line up with business outcomes. Next up, environment awareness, orchestrated collaboration so they can work together, and the big one, the ability to learn and adapt. These are really the ground rules for running enterprise AI safely and effectively. Okay, this all sounds great in theory, right? But how in the world do we actually build it? Well, this section lays out a really practical, layered model for putting this agentic architecture into practice. And the model itself is surprisingly intuitive. It's broken down into 3 distinct layers that just build right on top of each other. You start with a solid foundation of knowledge, then you add a layer for reasoning and coordination, which is the orchestration tier, and finally, you have the action layer, the autonomous tier. And each layer here has a super specific job. The knowledge tier, that's the enterprise brain. It's the single source of truth that pulls all the data and context together. The orchestration tier is like the conductor, or maybe air traffic control, coordinating all the moving parts, the agents, the humans, the tools. And then finally, the autonomous tier is your workforce, the hands that actually execute tasks and get the work done. And just so we're clear, this isn't some far-off, futuristic theory. Gartner's research shows the shift is already happening, and fast. By 2027, they're predicting that a full quarter of all initial network setups will be handled by generative AI. This is happening right now. So when you have a technological shift this massive, it naturally leads to a human one. And it's poised to completely redefine one of the most critical roles in IT, the enterprise architect. For years, the enterprise architect's job was mostly about, optimizing IT systems and managing costs. They were the technical custodians. But in this new agentic world, their role is being elevated, big time. They're becoming strategic advisors whose main focus is designing and guiding the entire intelligent enterprise to create real, tangible business value.
And as Forrester points out here, this isn't a threat, it's a massive opportunity. Because of their unique bird's-eye view of the entire organization, enterprise architects are in the perfect position to step up and become the conductors of these new intelligent ecosystems. I mean, just look at these new titles. They sound less like IT managers and more like the strategic architects of a company's entire future. A digital twin strategist who uses AI to simulate business scenarios. An enterprise knowledge curator who makes sure the AI's brain is getting high-quality, trusted information. Agentic governance champion, value mapper. These are deeply strategic roles. So let's bring it all together in our final section. Let's look at the actual practical paths an organization can take to start building out this new model. This right here is the key strategic question facing every business leader and technologist today. This is a huge transformation. So what's the smartest, most effective way to even begin this journey? It seems there are basically two paths you can take. You can build it yourself using open source frameworks, which gives you maximum control and deep customization. And that's great for experiments or really specific use cases. Or you can adopt a ready-made agentic platform, which is designed for speed, security, and enterprise-grade governance right out of the box. And the data shows a pretty clear trend right now. A huge majority, 72% of enterprises, are choosing to buy rather than build. And why is that? Well, it shifts their focus from building all the underlying infrastructure to actually building the agent capabilities that solve business problems. It just accelerates the whole process and bakes in security from day one. So we'll end on this thought. This transition to an agentic enterprise, it isn't just another tech project. It's a fundamental strategic choice. And the question every leader needs to be asking is this: are we continuing to build an architecture that's designed for yesterday's problems, or are we truly laying the foundation for an autonomous and intelligent future?